G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. We are here on the brand new expansion for Age of Empires 4, the Sultan's Ascend. It's finally dropped and everyone's got access to it. We're watching a ranked match at the moment between two Conqueror 3 level players. Spawning in on the east side of the map in the color red, playing as Juicy's Legacy. It's David Kim, aka Puppy Paw. And on the west side of the map in the color pink, playing as the variant civilization of the French, Joan of Arc. It's MCK Resh. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We're here on Dry Arabia, and I'm excited for some Age of Empires 4. I tell you what, this game has absolutely reinvigorated my excitement for this game, my enthusiasm for this game. I tell you what, I'm looking forward to it. You know, I'm sitting down at my computer and I'm just, I've got Age of Empires 4 open. I just can't wait to get in here and play and cast. And, you know, I'll watch a game and cast it, and then I want to go and play and do a similar strategy. It's so much fun being at this point in the game. You've just got so much available to you. But anyway, let's get into it. Let's talk a little bit about the matchup, because we're starting to learn where things are at now. Now, keep in mind, we mentioned that Joan of Arc is, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I believe it's actually pronounced John Dark. Anyway, like unironically, I googled it because people were like, "You're pronouncing it incorrectly." I googled it and it said John Dark. But anyway, so that's the variant civilization for the French. Here we've got the variant civilization for the Chinese, and boy oh boy do we have a spawn in the back of the base here. Now I think Puppy Paw is pretty familiar with how this civilization works, but if you're not, let me fill you in. The civilization's got access to the Tang Dynasty in the Dark Age, and that reduces the cost of all your landmarks down by a significant amount, 15%, which means that you can build both of your Dark Age landmarks for a reduced price. One of those landmarks is called the Meditation Gardens, and it works based on the resources that are immediately around it. And one of the things that I'm seeing right here is that you've got two spawns of berry bushes right next to each other and a stone mine. There is a beautiful little spawn right here for the Meditation Gardens to go in, where you're going to be pulling in like 100 food a minute guaranteed, and then you'll be pulling in 30 stone as well. Do we have... Oh, I thought we had a bit of a run out right there, but it's not going to be the case. It looks like he's just dropping off some of that tax, and we can see that villager now coming out. Looks like it might be thinking about dropping down that landmark. Now, I actually did the landmark numbers for this, for Meditation Gardens, and if you've got 100 plus, it actually makes sense to bring like 4 villagers over here and get this up as quick as you can. And you can see he's got to get everything in this. This is gonna be ludicrous. This is gonna be at least 130. I think about 130 resources a minute coming through. Let's check in over on the other side of the map, though, because we've got the School of Cavalry coming up, and it's going to be the hero, Joan of Arc, that is building up this landmark. And I love the way that MCK Raresh is building this. Wait, how are we going to pronounce that? Raresh? I guess we just go... I want to say Rakesh, but I don't know where I'm getting that second K from in here. So we're just going to call him Raresh. I guess we could also call him Pink. It's a little bit difficult to... we'll call him Resh. How about Resh? Oh, Puppy Paw, Puppy Paw, Puppy Paw. Got to be careful, villagers. Not going to garrison. But the transition is now coming through, and we do see that it looks like he's quite heavy on wood. This could be an indication of one or two things, but we see with this villager moving towards what I can only assume is stone, it's probably going to be a second town center, and that definitely makes sense in this matchup. You know, you're playing up against the Chinese here. You want to try and be matching them when it comes to their economy, because when it comes to their economy, they are going to be booming their mines out. Let's take a look at how Puppy Paw is doing, though, inside that base. He does have that Song Dynasty that he is going to be thinking about, and that's going to reduce the cost of his economic buildings. We talked before about with your Tang Dynasty. Now, there's no way for us to access it, but we can see the cost of these landmarks. And you can see they're 340 versus your standard 400 food. So it's a pretty decent discount, and obviously we also get a discount on the gold as well. Now, one of the things to note is that you're going to have knights here that are playing up against Zhukunu, and that's never a fun time. So I suspect we're probably going to see Puppy Paw look to try and get castle pretty early, but there's the age up now, 4 minutes 15. Not a bad little timing here for him. And we do see he's got plenty coming in. Yeah, you can see. So it's going to be 96. 96, yeah. 96 food a minute, and it'll be the 30 stone. So 126 resources a minute. Definitely a very solid Meditation Gardens right here. And we've got that Song Dynasty now coming up. Does he look to go into a second TC? He's got a wonderfully safe stone on the back here. He can always look to just play a bit slow with the Meditation Gardens, because it is giving you that passive stone coming in every minute. It's not quite as fast as a villager, but it's still pretty good. And with this wall coming up, it almost certainly says he's going for a second TC here. He's still got a lot of villagers on food, so I'm not sure what that's all about. He might be looking actually just to go into a barracks first, just cognizant of a knight maybe coming out. Let's check in over with our French variant civilization, John Dark, now, and see where they're up to. Wheelbarrow coming through. Second TC on the way. Doesn't look like there's even been a knight in the queue here. So just looking to move out onto the map, and we can see that John's gone into, or John's gone, John? Yeah, I guess we'll call her John. John has gone into the woman at arms. So this is kind of like a man at arms, except she's a woman. And I think this is actually becoming very quickly the most popular variant with her. I think initially people were like, yeah, the archer seems really cool because it complements, you know, your knights. But now people have like kind of worked it out where it's like, well, actually, she's got a lot of health on her and she can tank up. And then, you know, this AoE damage that she can do, we've seen it pop off. It's been incredible. On top of that, you can also get access to boars here. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do see 8 villagers begin to move out here and look to try and take the boar. Remember the boar is one of the fastest ways to gather food in the game, especially if you combine it with something like survival techniques at a discounted price. Don't mind if I do. Just cleaning up all of the wolves out here. Raresh doing a decent job of remembering where all of those wolves were. You've got to play it the exact same way that you play the Rus. You've got to try and focus that bounty. But now we start to see, oh my god, look at the speed of this granary coming down. Gotta make sure I pronounce everything correct. It's a granary. It's not a granary. But let's check in now with the base of our French variant civilization. Second TC's up. Training villages. One of the differences between these two civilizations, there's 2 major differences I like to point out whenever you think about the French variant civilization. The first one is that your villagers train at a normal speed. Of course, there's also the elephant in the room is that you've also got a hero, but that's the obvious one, so we don't bother with that. So the first one is that the villagers train at the same speed, so they're not faster than the French. They train at the same speed as everybody else. And the second big one is that you don't get a cost reduction if you build a keep immediately adjacent to your stable or your archery range. It doesn't happen. You don't get that. But you do get a cost reduction from Joan, and you get this quite early on in the game through her Consecrate ability. So you'd want to be looking to consecrate a School of Cavalry pretty early. You can also consecrate the Town Center. It's definitely not worth it, but it depends on your strategy, right? Because at the end of the day, you're going to be getting a lot more value out of a consecrated School of Cavalry than you are a Town Center. But with a Town Center, you're always going to be producing. So there's always going to be guaranteed value on that one. But we now start to see... Looks like, oh my gosh, look at this. This is a beautiful little base that's beginning to build here from the juicy legacy player, Puppy Paw. And indeed, do we have a third TC coming out here? He feels that confident. And I love this transition as well. So with the Song Dynasty, it reduces the cost of your farms, of all your eco buildings. So that includes your granaries. So they're down from 150 down to 90 wood. But also your town center. Instead of your town center costing 400 wood, it now only costs 240. So it's a really nice discount that you get on it. Looks like a sheep is lost as well as a scout on that west side of the map. And there's the third TC coming down. A bit of a weird spot that he's placing it, but I think I understand it. He wants to keep everything close to home. And I love the fact that we've got 3 TCs coming up this early. And look at the wall. Oh my god, the way that he just walls it so close to the primary TC. I did actually see a meme. I think it was on Reddit, maybe. Maybe it wasn't. Someone had just walled in their TC completely with a little gate at the front. I was like, that's pretty cool. I didn't realize that you could do that now. But obviously you can. So we've got 3 TCs on the east side. Big Giga Boom coming through right now for Puppy Paw. I suspect he's going to be looking for Castle Age after this. It seems like the most natural progression here. He did a pretty decent job of scouting out what his opponent was up to, saw the first town center, the second TC, is well and truly aware that they're focusing on their economy as well, but you don't know what the follow-up could be, and this is the part where it makes sense to try and even look to get another scout out here just to get a bit of an idea of what's happening, because we really don't have an idea, and you can see that the scout is out here for Raresh. He's going to spot out that third TC as well, and now he's going to make a decision. Does he go into a third TC? Does he stick it with 2? It looks like he's going to stick it with 2. Now, one thing to note is we do see the town center on the stone outcropping. Normally, the town center on the stone outcropping is an indication that it's going to be the 3 TCs, not the 2, and yet he didn't go for it. So I'm curious what the thought process was behind that. Anyway, Blacksmith now coming down. Raresh looking to add in a little bit more production, and I'm curious which route he's going to go, and it looks like he is going to play the feudal age approach here. Beautifully tight walls by David Kim. Look at the way that he's playing this out. I love the fact that he's got the walls literally on the resources. It's kind of wild, right? But it makes sense. You don't want units to go past here and you wall up to the town center. I don't think units can get through here, but I'm not 100% sure. We'll have to wait and see how that goes. Zhuku number starting to build up here as well. Let's check in and see exactly how Puppy Paw is doing as the delete comes through. And what's he looking for now? I mean, he could just be... did he just delete it for for the memes. He got the last bit of tax out, and he's like, all right, we can get rid of you. We don't need you. And now supervising up the early granary in the middle of the base. I tell you what, this is a beautiful base. Now, I saw this question posted quite a few times for anybody wondering. The meditation gardens still gives the same amount of resources, even if you eat the resources. Just remember that. But now a little bit of a push coming in. Raresh here, looking underneath these two town centers. One thing to note is he doesn't have any battering rams at this stage of the game. +1 ranged attack, not yet through. +1 ranged armor, only on the way at the moment. Could look for siege engineering here. I definitely think that's the right approach, but I'm curious to see which way David Kim looks to approach. And oh my god, we're seeing it. This Chinese Song Dynasty. This is part of why I think what is happening right now is absolutely broken. Did you know that the Chinese Song Dynasty reduces the cost of all non-military buildings, and that the outpost is not considered a military building? That's right, these buildings have their cost reduced from 100 wood down to 60, and now we can get emplacements in it, and you can turtle for free. Well, not for free, but at a discounted price. And I think this is kind of what was really empowering me to want to play this style, and I'm so excited that we get to see it, because, you know, I was just literally mentioning earlier on in this video about how you see certain strategies and it makes you want to try them. It's the exact same thing here for me with what he's doing. It is ludicrous. Look how he's backed himself into a corner here. He's playing the English style, and this is why I call the Jussi Legacy the new English, because this civilization does not need to leave the base. Right now, he's got villagers that are on gold. You could easily push him off gold here, but he would be okay, because he's got his Imperial officials to gather up the gold for him. He'd be absolutely fine. And so now, all of a sudden, good luck ever pushing into 3 TCs with the 2 outposts that have got emplacements on them. And now he's starting to build up the numbers. And look, the numbers are pretty decent as well. He's up to 30 military units already. Over on the other side of the map, it looks like a castle age will be coming through for Raresh. When it comes to his direction, he could look to go into the guild hall. I think would probably be the best to go into at this point. I mean, you do have Royal Knights, but you don't have a huge amount. I like to see Royal Knights. If the Royal Knight numbers are up, say, around like the 20 or so mark, then it would make sense to go into the Royal Institute. But before then, I don't know. It doesn't feel worth it. You know what? We got to get a screenshot of this. This is beautiful stuff. I want to see it right now. This is an absolutely ludicrous defensive position, and it just gets compounded by the fact you've got insane farms that are coming in here. Keep in mind, these are 30% gather rate villages here. But now the push coming to shove. Raresh making a little bit of a mistake here. I'd say this is one of the cardinal sins, right? We don't push when we're aging up. Even if our enemy's got 3 TCs, we don't do it, because we're going to try and take a fight here, and you can see Jeanne d'Arc pushing towards the front. She's got to be careful. She takes a beating from those villagers, or from those Jukunu, rather. And now the Jukunu are going to do a wonderful job at defending. Remember that the Jukunu do 3 damage for every single shot that they fire, or every single round that they fire, so they do very well against battering rams. All right, well, the defenses has come in quite solid. We'll switch it over to income per minute, so you can get a bit of an idea on where these guys are up to when it comes to the income. A really nice, solid base defense there. And it's going to leave Raresh with a bit of a scratch on his head, thinking to himself, how do I approach this? I think the answer is definitely the right play. The answer is definitely Castle Age. But once you get Castle Age, it's hard, right? Like, this is where I genuinely don't know how to beat this style as Jussi's Legacy, and this is why I said that they do break the RTS system, right? The RTS system has long been that Rush counters Boom, and Boom counters Turtle, and Turtle counters Rush. The problem is that Jussi's Legacy can do a Boom, and they can also do a Turtle at the same time, which means that they're turtling, so the Rush can't beat them, and they're booming, which means a Turtle can't beat them, and they're booming, which means that they will out-boom you as well, because they're ludicrous if they get to the late game. But now the push coming in, looks like the Spears trying their best to hold on the front. We've also got on the backside, you can see Joan now looking for that heal. She's going to find it. Big attacks come through, but she gets focused down immediately. The Jukunu doing a wonderful job. Wonderful little pocket position right now from Puppy Paw. He's going to be able to force back his opponent here. A couple of Rams still looking to try and fight it. Not going to be able to do too much, and they're just going to get cleaned up. Wonderful defense right there. And you can see we're 14 minutes into this game. The triple TC threat was never under any pressure whatsoever. Now, granted, his opponent went for 2 TCs, and arguably it's still a pretty slow strategy compared to, say, a 1 TC strategy. But, I mean, at the end of the day, Puppy Paw was up a town center. So you would expect, I know I would, I'd expect that a 2 TC all-in the feudal age would absolutely destroy the Chinese. Jussi's Legacy, however, they are a different kettle of fish. And now, all of a sudden, do you like that kettle of fish? That's from my dad. Different kettle Is it a different kettle of fish? I think it is. Anyway, Montlu Academy going to be coming up. Interesting decision to go into Montlu Academy. I don't like this first. I much prefer the Shaolin Monastery first because you can get those Shaolin monks out onto the map, look to try and get control of the relics, but I guess this does give you the flexibility and looking for these early upgrades for your Imperial officials. There are some pretty powerful ones in there. So now we see that age up coming through. 94 villagers on the field here as well for Puppy Paw at the moment. Let's take a look and see what upgrades he goes for, because at this point, the most important upgrade to look for is your +2 ranged attack together with your veterancy. So +2 ranged attack together with veterancy for your Zhukunu. Really important because that's going to take your damage from 5 up to 7. And that's a significant amount of damage that you're going to gain because remember, you do 3 attacks for every Zhukunu shot. But okay, I was looking at his resources and I was thinking, is he going Imperial Age here? How many vills does he have on gold? Not a whole lot of vills on gold. Moving out a whole bunch onto stone as well, so could be looking to throw down a keep. I've got a suspicion he's going Imperial. Look at how many vills he's just pulled onto gold. I think he's definitely going Imperial here. So the most important thing would be he needs to get veterancy on his units, get to +2, get a keep up to defend against any kind of timing push that might be happening in the Castle Age with, say, Royal Bloodlines. And then from there, you go Imperial behind it. And then once you're in Imperial, you're going into Elite Spears together with Grenadiers. Let's have a look and see if that's what he opts for, though. Now pushing out towards the front. Looks like Joan's got a little bit of an upgrade. She comes out here. She's got her sword. She's swinging and boom! Do you see that damage that comes in? All of the spears have gone down. There's basically nothing here to defend them. The veterancy comes through. +2 is not here, though, which is going to mean that you're only doing... That's 5 ranged armor versus 6 damage. So you could double your effective damage right now if you just had +2, Puppy Paw. That's why sometimes you got to listen to Drogo and look at the damage that comes in right now. John Dark, you are doing so much damn damage. That is ludicrous how much she's doing. But still we can see the Zhukunu are holding, and they've got a beautiful little choke point in here up against the... I was going to say against the Montlu Academy, but it's down here, the Montlu Academy. It is the Jiangnan Tower. And it looks like the men-at-arms did get called out, John's champions. And the hold is going to be successful. So Puppy Paw doing a very decent job there with that hold. Still floating a lot of resources. I reckon he's still tilted towards it. Let's see how it goes for him, though. On the outside of the map, we do see that his opponent is beginning to take control of larger gold veins. Royal Institute is in. Now Royal Bloodline's coming in. So you haven't really got any value from... Well, you haven't got any value at all from this landmark until you've researched the technology. Before then, you could have just gone for the Guild Hall. And I still think Guild Hall would have been okay in this position. The one thing to note is that you're 3 TCs against 2, or 2 TCs against 3, rather. And that is not the best position to be going something like Guild Hall. But it does definitely help out in your late game. And I think that John Dark is a civilization that if you can make it to late game, you have a lot of great bonuses that are going to help you out. Most importantly, you're going to have John Dark herself, which has got huge bonuses in a late game, including a massive boost to attack speed. But now that keep going to be thrown down on the front line. We've got enough resources to go Imperial Age. You can see the drop-off attempt coming in, but instead all the workers just decide, you know what, maybe we're just going to repair up this mining camp instead. Yeah, let's repair it. And now up towards the north, it's going to be a keep that he throws on the large gold. So looking to secure on the gold instead. We see that age up coming through. He's going to look to go into Juicy's library. Very, very interesting. I'm curious which text he goes from here. Doesn't have a lot of gold in the bank. Juicy's library, okay. I'm curious to see where he goes. So he could look into something like the unique cavalry. I think that's probably going to be a good play for him. And then other options include maybe your bombard could be a way that you play, but the age up comes through. Balanced projectiles is finally through, so he's got that +2 range armor. Now, this is where you want to get those elite upgrades in straight away. Avoid fighting here, if at all possible. The heal's going to come in. The Zhukunu going to get thrown back here. He wants to make sure he keeps them all alive, and he's looking to try and focus down Joan, and you can see how much she's tanking the damage here. She does not care. 10 health left on her, and she walks away like a cool guy. You know what they say, cool guys don't look at explosions. They turn around and walk away. That's exactly what she's done here, managing to survive. Very, very cool. But look at this, the Zhukunu just too damn strong. Spamming them out. He's got so many of them, and now going to start to mix in the crossbows as well. These crossbows are going to help against any of those knight threats. Now, keep in mind, when it comes to Joan, she is a heavy melee cavalry, which means she does get counted against those crossbows. But the fact that he's going into crossbows, what do we have here? We've got dynastic protectors, exactly as we suspected. Definitely a favorable technology to be going into at Juicy's library. I think in almost every circumstance, this is one that you want to be going. I can definitely imagine games where you avoid going for 10,000 bolts or avoid going for Cloud of Terror. but I can never imagine a game where you avoid dynastic protectors. It gives you such a versatile composition that you've got. You've got fast raiding units in the form of the Yuan Raider, and you've got a really solid cavalry unit in the form of an Imperial Guard. It's only second to the Byzantines Cataphract with the landmarks. That's my exception right there. If you do not use Triumph with the Cataphract, you will not beat the Imperial Guard. They're way too strong. But now let's have a focus and see exactly where Puppy Paw decides to move next. Looks like he's going to be picking up Imperial Red Seals, a unique upgrade that's going to allow him to have slightly more Imperial officials. And we do actually see he picked up the unique upgrade. I'll try my best to remember it. It is the one that increases your supervision from 150% to 300%. And I wonder what he's using that on. So he's supervising mining camps, but it doesn't change the amount of resources that you drop off there. We saw him supervising in the north as well. Looks like a couple of knights going to be able to make it here underneath the keep. A lot of villagers underneath, and definitely not enough space for this many villagers, so plenty of them are going to be going down here. And now he's going to have to do that little bit of a ring around the rosy, pocket pull of posies. Well, we'll have to tune in and see how it goes, but it doesn't look like it's going the best. Villager numbers still in favor of Puppy Paw for the moment. And at the same time on the front, what's interesting to me is that Raresh went for a forward keep like this, but then he never made any trebuchets. And that's normally the... Oh my god, he's going for the Temple of the Sun. We're already in the Ming Dynasty. Get out of town. My lord, 21 minutes in and he races to the Ming Dynasty. He says, we're going straight there, baby. We don't even need the Yuan Dynasty. We don't need pagodas. We don't need relics. Who cares about them? We don't need to worry about that at all. Very, very cool. And it means that the Zhuge Nu are actually going to get a little bit of extra damage as well. That's the great thing about the Ming Dynasty, is that I tell you what, this civilization with the Zhuge Nu are insane. Because you can just get the most crazy Zhuge Nu. You get the extra bolt. You get extra damage that comes in from this landmark. You get the extra movement speed as well. You get everything. You get absolutely everything. It's crazy how good how good these Zhuge Nu are. And I'm curious to see whether he just goes for only Zhuge Nu. It could definitely be the option. I mean, the other option that he's got open to him is Grenadiers. But the fact that he's gone Ming Dynasty already makes me think he's probably not even going to do it. Did he? I think we just saw a horseman delete right there. He's made them by accident. And now those knights going to come in, cop a little bit of damage on the villagers. And the Imperial Guard now going to look to try and take them out. You can see just how much damage and health he's not even close. And Raresh now going to have to back away. The Imperial Guard looking to try and chase it down. Remember, they've got that unique Ming Dynasty bonus, as well as 20% coming from the Temple of the Sun right now. It is a huge amount of extra damage. Charge is going to come in. He's also got those Jones champions at the same time. Looks like a knight did make it behind enemy lines. Majority of the army is up towards that north side, and the Imperial Guard are going to get cleaned up, outnumbered completely by their opponents here. And still, David Kim maxed at 200 population at the moment, despite losing out these units in the fight. He's rebuilding slowly at home. Looks like biology's come through as well. He's up to 420 health on these units. That is more health by far than a veteran Royal Knight. And it is more health than an elite Royal Knight with the biology upgrade. Or the Royal Bloodline upgrade, rather. Keep gets denied in the north. He'll have to cancel it. Looks like he's making his way back through towards the economy of Puppy Paw. He's got a beautiful economy sitting back here. Exactly what every Chinese and Juicy Legacies player dreams of. Now that Royal Knight gets shut down as well. John slowly pushing up here. Villagers look like they will get this keep up on time. That's going to solidify this position and guarantee that 1,600 gold does go the way of Puppy Paw. Now into the middle of the map. This is where all that aggression has been come, or all these units have been looking. Imperial Guard going to be harassing down these villagers, and he could just siege all of these buildings here with his Zhuge Nu. Still hasn't got the elite upgrades, which to me indicates he's not interested in making any more of them. But at the end of the day, I mean, we've seen Puppy Paw forget upgrades before. I remember watching a game where he went to Castle Age as the Delhi Sultanate, and he didn't click any upgrades until he got to Castle Age. He had free upgrades, and he never clicked them. All right, a couple of champions get spawned out the front here. She's got to be careful, Joan does, but we can see that she's got a little bit of health left. Come on, Joan. Hold it together. 8 seconds for Divine Restoration. It's not going to matter. She does go down. And now Juicy's Legacy really putting in the hurt. We see that age up about to come through. Where's that landmark? It looks like it's gone in over on the wood line. Does have access to companion equipment. And now just sieging down the keep with Imperial Guard. Because why not? I mean, who can afford... In this economy, battering rams, they don't come cheap. And the reality is, you know, Imperial Guard just do it better, right? It's just a solid all-round unit that's wonderful at sieging buildings, it seems. Very impressive. And now into the middle of the base here. Raresh has got no units on the field. Has Raresh lost everything? What is going on right now? Raresh, you got to pick up your game, son. Everything has just fallen so quickly. Puppy Paw is... Oh my god, I've just seen. Look at the amount of units that are out here. 2 military population for Raresh. He's going to have to rebuild if he wants to stay in this game because at the moment, Puppy Paw is just obliterating him. +3 ranged armor coming in. That's going to help against these Zhugunu. But remember, oh there it is. 10,000 bolts. It's on the way. Hey, Puppy Paw, would you mind for me, please, just get your elite Zhugunu upgrade? You've been Imperial now for 10 minutes, if you wouldn't mind. And, you know, if you want to throw in a +3 ranged upgrade as well, I would welcome that because this unit, it gets triple the amount of damage than any other unit does with +1 ranged attack. Let alone +3, which gives an extra 9 damage. So it's one of those things where you definitely want to try and have that. But can we just talk about this composition, though? I think this is an incredible composition. Oh, we got ourselves a keep race on the south side of the map. Looks like the Chinese keep gets up slightly beforehand, but the French keep will get up, or rather the John's keep, well, the John's keep, Joan of Arc's keep, John Dark's keep will eventually get up. I love these Zhugunu still powering it through on the front. 10,000 bolts is on the way in. And you're about to see why Juicy's legacy is one of the scariest civilizations there are in the late game. He's also got the crossbow combination coming out here. Hopefully we see those elite upgrades coming through as well. What this is going to do is it's going to increase the amount of bolts that your Zhugunu and your crossbow fire. So instead of firing 3 bolts and 1 bolt respectively, they fire 4 bolts and 2 bolts respectively. Now, I didn't realize it because it doesn't say it on the tin. The next bolt, or the second bolt, does less damage. There you go. I just thought it was giving you double damage. I thought it was like picking up a double D rune in the river. It's not. Anyway, Zhugunu absolutely just shredding through the horsemen here, trying to make their way in. Not going to be able to find it. Joan coming in once again and doing a cute little attack. I love the way she just comes in, throws it down, and then just runs out. She's not looking for it again. But this is we're just at that point right now where this is like Lanchester's. Was it Lanchester's law? I think it is. Someone pointed this out to me in the YouTube comments. I didn't even know this was a thing. And then when they said it and I looked it up, I'm like, oh, that's like the thing I've been describing in all of these videos. And that's where if you've got a significant mass of units, they are going to absolutely annihilate the opponent's forces if there is a big numbers difference. And that's why I advocate for things like Keshiks when you're playing as the Byzantines, so that you can have a greater number advantage when it comes to your cavalry out on the field. And look, you look into it yourself, but yeah, anyway, you can see why, or how it's so difficult for Raresh to rebuild here, because he constantly sends his units in one by one, not one by one, but like 10 at a time or 5 at a time, and they just have a lot of trouble. And you can see right there, Joan trying to get off that ability, but getting boxed out by the Imperial Guard. Now the Imperial Guard running up towards that north side. It feels like it might be well and truly over at this point. Do we have elite upgrades coming through just yet for these units? Still no elite upgrades just yet, but they are firing the extra bolt, and that's what I like. Incendiary arrows coming through as well. Where's the crossbows at? There's one right there. You can see that they get... It's like half the damage. They go from 17 down to 7, which is less than 17, actually. Or less than half. I don't like that. I don't like that. That wasn't in the fine print. Where did you say it gets to fire an extra bolt, but the extra bolt does less damage? Significantly less damage. You should bold that part about the bolts. That's how angry I'm getting about it. You gotta tell us that kind of stuff. Otherwise, I'm just going to come out here preaching the bolts. 10,000 bolts. Should you be going for it? Maybe. Maybe not. Probably not. Definitely. I mean, it's a good upgrade. It's a decent upgrade. It's one of those unique ones. But you got to remember that you can only get 2 upgrades from Juicy's library. The question becomes, which one is the most viable? Imperial Guard, once again, now on the backside, just cleaning up villagers. Joan's out here. She's looking to try and collect. Does a little bit of a spin to win. How much damage is she doing? 35 damage with that. Still don't see the upgrade or the final form of Joan coming out just yet. And I think that's what Raresh is waiting for. He's waiting for that final form of Joan to come out. And then that way, the hand cannoneer should be able to turn the tide of battle, or at least that's what he's hoping. And you can see right now he's fighting tooth and nail to get every little bit of XP that he can. And there we go. Is that going to be enough to push her over the line? I wish we knew, but unfortunately we don't get to see the XP bar. We can see the health bar, but, you know, wouldn't a nice little XP bar down here just be nice? It would. But unfortunately, we don't get to see it. Imperial Guard backing off. Looks like David Kim's giving him a second chance at life. He says, oh, you... Oh my god, look what he's doing. He deleted everything, and he's just making only Imperial Guard. This is like when you're playing against the AI, and you wall them in, and you're like, all right, Now I'm going to delete all my villages and make only springalds. And then I'm going to kill all of your buildings with springalds. And each springald does 1 damage, and you're like, I'm sticking with it. It's 200 springalds, baby. It's not really, it's like 66. Sacred site's being taken. Relic in hand. That's a man who knows what is up. Another thing to note about this unit is this unit only costs, well, what were we deleting right then? Was that villages? Did we just delete villages? We're at 108 villages. I think we might have. So one thing to note with this unit is it's only 1 population. It's a very strong unit. It takes the same amount of population as an archer does, a basic archer or a villager. Look at the stats on this thing. And he doesn't even have the full stats on. At the moment, he's utilizing the Divine Vitality, which is healing up these units while they're out of combat. But then he'll switch it over to Divine Charge, which increases the damage so that these guys are actually doing, I think it's 50 damage it tops out at. It's a ludicrous amount. And now, I mean, Puppy Paw, how can you possibly lose from this position? When you've got an army this big of unique, elite cavalry, and as I mentioned, so I've done testing with this unit rigorously up against the Byzantine Cataphract, because it wasn't a question of which other unit can take it. It was either the Imperial Guard or the Cataphract. The Cataphract will beat this unit if it has Triumph, which is the ability from the landmark, the Hippodrome. If you do not go for the Hippodrome and you have Cataphracts against this unit, you will lose. You will overwhelmingly lose. And that was at every single level. We did like 5 versus 5, 10 versus 10. I think we did like 20 versus 20, 50 versus 50. And at every single level, it was the same. If you had Triumph, you would win. If you did not have Triumph, you would lose. So that's the difference. So, I mean, technically, if you're playing against the Byzantines as Juicy's Legacy, what you want to do is wait for them to pop Triumph. And the moment that they do, run away from them. Don't fight them. And then once Triumph runs out, then you can engage. So I think that's probably the way that you want to try and do it. But I guess if you're a Byzantine player, you probably don't want to pop Triumph if your enemy's going full Imperial Guard until maybe like halfway through the fight, I guess. That's probably the best way to do it. Then that way you can at least get some value out of it if they run away, because you can just heal up some of the damage. There you go. There you go. One of the interesting mechanics from it, though, because we made sure that we didn't micro it, and so I was doing it with Kanoki, and Kanoki was playing with the Cataphracts, and I had the Imperial Guard. So the Imperial Guard would charge in, and they would hit the first line of the Cataphracts with their charge. And then the Cataphracts would use their charge, which ignores unit collision and just goes through things. Oh my, oh my god, he's literally deleting all of his villages. He's up to 120. Oh gosh, okay. But anyway, so then the Cataphracts would charge through, and then all of the Imperial Guard would then be hitting the back line of Cataphracts, which the Cataphracts had full health on, because you'd hit the front line with the charge, and then you were attacking the back line. And then the front line got to heal up because they had access to the Hippodrome's special ability. But now we've got that push coming out. You know it's time. 120 Imperial Guards on the field right now. This unit will change the way the Chinese are played forever. This is one of the best units in the game right now. The best pound-for-pound fighter that there is on the battlefield. He's up against Horsemen. He's up against Arbitria. He doesn't care. He's going to try his best to pick a couple of them off. But look how many there are sprinting in right now to take out this fight. Joan's in the middle. She's got the hand cannon in. She's looking to try and hold on against everything. You can see her just turning around saying, all right, I'll take you. I'll take you. But there are just so many damn units here. This is ludicrous. Oh, the cannon comes out in the middle of the fight. Save me, cannon. Save me. And it immediately gets eviscerated. And there we can see just, you know, it all just comes down to the square of how many units you've got in your army. And, well, that well and truly was it. Ladies and gentlemen, if that's not the end of the game, I don't know what is. 33 minutes in. That was an absolute performance from Puppy Paw. He lost less than 20 units during that fight. That is absurd. Did he have the special bonus on? He did. He did. So now he just goes hunting for the landmarks. I mean, you've killed the enemy's entire army in the blink of an eye. What do? I guess you just go after some landmarks. And these guys are pretty good at killing buildings. I don't know if you remember that there was a keep that once used to live over here. And then a bunch of Imperial Guard got wind of it. And that was the end of it. First landmark's down. But yeah, look, for anybody wondering, this unit, it's kind of good. It may just be the best unit in the game. And I think Raresh will definitely, I don't know if he'll agree, but he'll definitely, he'll be there as Exhibit A. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you go check out Puppy Paw. I'll leave a link in the description to where you can watch him live over on Twitch. And of course, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.